What is up, guys? It is Friday night, and boy, have I had a full day today. And I've been out hunting all day, and I had to rush to get back home. I was having a lot of fun. Michael Coley and I went out on a hunt together today on a plantation site, and it was just unbelievable. We had such a great time. So it's really been fun. We dug so much stuff, and I'm going to show you guys that in just a few minutes. But before we start, I want to give a bunch of shout outs because it looks like we got a lot of people in the house, and we're going to bring on Mental Metal in just a few minutes. And I'm going to try to scroll back through and catch everybody real quick. Lee Eckert, Ohio Fred, Eastman, glad to have you from Great Britain. Michael Coley, as always, my buddy, he's out on the road, so hopefully he's listening. Wisco Detect is on here. Chris, glad to have you on here. We've got Dirt Devil Detecting. Always glad to have Dirt Devil Detecting on here. Digging Canuck, glad to have you, Digging Canuck. Joe Dirt. We've got, let's see else. I'm Sniff It Out. Prospect Cash. And Carson Chris, Jesse Britt, Relic Jedi. Again, Sonny Coley, Alabama Digger, glad to have you on here. Jay Strongbow, Daniel Watt, FloridaRob.com. So got a big crowd in the house. We got 36 followers on here right now that are watching. So we really appreciate you guys being here and really appreciate Mental Metal being in here with us tonight. And we're going to bring Mental Metal into the house. Mental Metal. There he is. Yeah, Mental Metal. So here we go. There's both of us together. And Mental Metal, we are so excited to have you in here with us tonight. You are doing a fantastic job. Your latest videos have been great. And of course, we're going to be talking about one of those videos in just a few minutes. Mental Metal, if you want to say a couple of shout outs to some of the guys that you recognize on here, you can do that real quick.
How do I see them? I'm not sure.
So. You should be able to pull it up on the side. Can you not see them?
Oh wait, hold on. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Let's see who's in there. Jay's in there. I heard you say Jay. I see him in there. What's up, Jay?
Right.
Jay sent me a program. I'm sharing with my Patreon group too. We're gonna try that
All
out.
right.
So thanks, Jay. Digging Canuck. Remember, I've seen Digging Canuck before. Hello, everybody. Yes. Happy to be here. I love joining you on this show. It's pretty fun, so I'm glad to be back. Thanks, Brian, for having me again. So,
yeah, well, we're super excited about having you on here tonight, and we're going to talk about a couple of your latest videos. I know you put up one on the Manicore, but the one that we're really going to focus on tonight is probably the reason why a lot of people are here, and that's going to be the coin program. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the update. So, Mental Metal, tell us, and can I call you Scott on here? Is that fine?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So, Scott, tell us, what are you thinking about the update? What have you seen so far? I know I've talked about it extensively. I know these guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about the update, but tell us a little bit about what you're seeing out of this new 1.10 update for the Deus II.
So, I mean, for me, I was a fan of the first update. I had no problem with it. I know some people had issues with it in iron and full tones and so forth. Now, for me, I don't hunt a lot of iron, so it didn't really impact me. I thought it was fine. I think it's a little less, I would say, zesty than the original update. I think it is a little toned back a little bit. But I'm having good luck with the update, and especially for coins. And a lot of people are asking me, can your old coin program work with the update? It was a little different. It wasn't working quite well, and so we made some updates to it. And I think what I put out there today, I think that is the final version. I'll just say,
yeah.
And I think it'll work. And a lot of people who are in my Patreon group have been running it. We just got off a Patreon call and a Zoom call with them, and a couple of guys in there said they had tried using it and it worked really well for them. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that things are okay with it.
Right. So you're seeing Jay Strongbow just posted, got an 1803 drape bust with that.
Yeah, he sent me a picture of it too. think it's
Yeah.
you.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, dude. That is so good. I love that coin. That is a unbelievable coin for sure.
But
Cat
he, but he said he
Osborne.
found that with his relic program, didn't he? Yeah, he said
Yes,
he
he
found
did.
it. Yep.
He said he
We're gonna
found
try
it with
that.
his relic program. Cat Osborne says, wrote down your latest coin program in general. They said, thanks, Scott.
Sure.
So
Happy to
a
help.
lot of people are excited. I know I'm a relic hunter, but every now and then I'll venture out into a park or into a yard where I sort of need some coin settings. So and I've watched that video that you put up, and I know you're using general, and that is awesome. And so share with our audience your settings that you are using for your coin program.
Okay. It's a good thing I wrote them down. Put me on the spot like that. Um,
Well,
so
I told you I was, right?
so you got to use the so it's out of, like Brent said, it's out of the general program. The options menu, you go into the options menu, the audio filter. I'm not using any filtering on the audio, so I leave it at 0. Um, I turn off the iron target IDs. I don't leave them on. I don't want to see them. I don't care about them.
Right.
I do love the high square audio type. Man, I'll tell you, that is one of the best features of the new update, in my opinion.
I love high square, and I'm going to tell a little bit about my adventure with the high square this week.
So going through in your menu, you have your disc. I set that at 6.8. Sensitivity, I leave it at 95. You can adjust that depending on your site. At first, when I did the beta version of Iron with the iron volume, I turned the iron volume down, but then I found out I was digging too many nails because I wasn't really hearing them. So I turned that back up to 7, not 10, and that seemed to really like clue me in a lot on the nails. So I leave mine at 7. It's strictly up to you to whatever you want to set that at, but I think 7 works really well. The frequency max, I started out at 40, but I found with my testing that 24 14 kilohertz is where it really
Right.
smacks.
Right.
um, Not much difference between the two, but I think if you stay at 24 you'll be fine. Reactivity, of course, that's up to you. If you want to drop it
Sure.
down to 1.5 to get a little more depth, that works too. Audio response, I love mine at 4. I don't typically use mine at 5 unless I'm on the beach or something. Beat caps, I have it off. 0 notch is off. Silencer, I leave it 2, or I'll take that down a little bit. Typically, I leave it at 2. But then your tone bins are going to be from 0 to 6.8. I leave, and that's the first one. Obviously, your iron. Leave the
Right.
frequency at
Right.
202. Second one's from 6.9 up to 53. Now, in the video, I tell people you can go to 55 or 54, and I'm seeing some nickels dropping down into like 53, so you got to be careful. So I leave it at 53, and I raise the volume up on that one to, or I'm sorry, the second bin is from 6.9 to 53. I put the frequency at 717, and I turn the volume down to 5. Simply because I don't really want to hear that range too much. I want to keep it kind of low and not jumping out at me. The third bin is your nickel bin. That's going to be from 54 to 65. I've seen nickels at 64. I bump up the frequency to 872 because I really want to hear that coming in, and then I also crank up the volume to 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that really jumps out at you. Then your
Sure.
next little bin is going to be from 66 to 73. I drop the frequency back down to 672, and I drop the volume down to 6. That's a small little junk range. And then the final tone bin is from 74 to 99. Crank it all the way up to 993 and crank it to 10. And those coins are going to just smack you right in the ears whenever you run over them. It's awesome.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, looks like a lot of people are loving it, Scott, too, because I put up a couple of comments where people were saying, "Look, I just found a Merc and some other things." And real quick, shout out to Carson Chris. Carson Chris, thank you for the donation tonight too. Again, all those donations go strictly back into our channel, so we really appreciate that. So thank you, Carson Chris. But I mean, we're seeing some great comments up here, Scott, about this coin program. A lot of
That's
people are
cool.
raving about it. So
That's awesome.
you definitely hit on something here. And I'm going to set it up in my machine. I haven't had the chance because I've mainly been doing a lot of relic hunting over the last few weeks with this version 1.10. One thing that I can say though is that with 1.10, I'm not digging a lot of iron. I'm really not. And I know that they went back to those 0.71 filters, but it's doing a fantastic job.
Well,
Like today, probably out of the 50 or 60 targets that I dug, and I might have even dug more than that. I'm interested to go back and look at my GoPro. I only dug 3 pieces of iron out of the whole day.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good.
In my video, I'm trying to show people how I'm kind of differentiating the targets out from iron. I do show in some of those. I do dig a couple nails, but I mean, I kind of say in the video, this is probably nail, and here's why, so I'm just trying to show people how I'm kind of figuring that out as I'm going. But for the most part, I'm not digging much iron anymore either.
Right. Yeah. I think that whatever they've done here has definitely helped. And it's just, to me, it's phenomenal. And I think all the other added features that they put in, the audio filter, the max frequency, the full tones adjustment, all these different things that they've done to this update, I think it's just paid huge dividends. Now, I've been running, which has been something that I've been experimenting with. So what I've done is I've gone back to fast, and I'm not using full tones. I'm actually using pitch. But let me explain why I'm so used to pitch. I mean, I can tell so much about a target using pitch tones, and I know full tones should be helping you. And I haven't really run full tones that much, but even running pitch, and what I'm doing is instead of square, which is what I normally run, I'm running high square. And I'm also implementing the audio filter, but I'm only running it at 1. And I'm having great success with it running that way, hunting relics. And I actually tried it with coins the other day. I was in a downtown area where they had torn down a storefront, and I started running that program that way. But the only difference that I did there was I was mainly hunting for silver, and it's in my video, but I didn't end up with any silver, but I dug a ton of wheat pennies and an Indian out of a downtown area that had been probably hit very, very hard because it was, everybody knew it was an old torn down store.
Yeah.
And but I ran the notch up to 79, and it performed great. I mean, the signals just sound so much purer to me when I'm running high square and running that audio filter at 1. And I don't know how much you've played around with that or not.
Well, I love the high square. I mean, I think that, like I said in the beginning there, I thought that was one of the nicest features they added. I think adding volume control to the tone breaks was hugely.
Oh my gosh, yes, I agree with you 100%.
Because
changing that volume just changes everything to me.
It does, and you can really make things pop out that you couldn't before. Because for me, before in the old program, the coin program, I would drop the frequencies down to kind of keep my ears from not paying attention. But now I just drop the volume and the frequency, and it really, you can hear stuff going on. But when you get a really good target, you're gonna know. I mean, there's no way.
Well, and the other thing that I like that XP's done is I like that, remember when you only had 1 and that was it. If you couldn't really go down to 0.5 or any of that as far as the as far as the the audio volume of iron volume, so you were like going, why am I still hearing this so loud even when I'm running at 1? And I love that they've added those extra settings or extra increments of iron volume, because now with those extra segments of iron volume, you can now lower that iron volume so down. And so when you're at 1, you're not hearing that thing that's just blowing your ears off.
I know. I love it.
I love it too. Prospector Cash says, wish I could get high square to work with bone conducting headphones. Sharpshooter put up a video about that prospector's
We
cache. I don't know if you watched his video or not.
we talked
Talking
about
about
that.
bone conductor headphones. Scott, do you have any experience using bone conducting
So,
headphones?
no, but he was in my Zoom call just a few minutes ago. We were talking about that, and TN Sharpshooter's video, I saw it too, and I said to him, "Have you seen that video?" And we talked about it. So you can get it to come up and tell you you're in high square, but it
Right.
isn't in high square.
But it isn't, right. And Sharpshooter brought that up. Stinkass Cat, you're my man. Thank you so much for the big donation tonight. We really appreciate that. All this goes right back to our channel, and you can tell, I try to bring in good quality guests like Mental Metal here, and we try to put on a very, very good show for everybody. And we try to give out information that everybody can use. And Scott, Mental Metal, is just awesome. He's an awesome guy, and he does a great job of explaining and doing tutorials. And he's one of my go-to channels too. I watch a lot of his stuff, and just a super guy. I mean, just is. I mean, honestly. So, yes, so appreciate that, Stink Ass Cat. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
I love the fact that you have to say that every time. It cracks me up.
I think he likes that too. And I believe I know what his real name, because I actually was in on Ed Huffman's video live stream last night, and I think I heard his real name, but I like I just like his logo. I love that. I love the name.
I do too. I think it's awesome, and congratulations. That's a huge.
He's an awesome guy, and he says you are the mom as well. So yes, he is. He really does a great job of explaining and doing the tutorials. And I love seeing Rocky on your videos too. It just makes for a great time for sure. So
he's sitting here. He's just laying there hanging out.
Yeah, he's just laying down.
Yeah, I had some French fries earlier.
I use full tones PWM. I will try high square tomorrow and report back next time. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, try high square. I'm telling you, and run the audio filter, because that audio filter, it does clean up. It does clean up those targets. The other thing that I'm doing is I only run my silencer at 1. And I run my discrimination at 6.8. And that just seems to work really, really well for my area. Now, again, I'll say this, and I always say this: what works for me may not work for you in your area. I mean, it's just, different soil conditions, different types of environments that you're hunting in. It may not work that way. But for me, those are the settings that I'm finding that have been very successful. And Michael Coley's on here, and he'll tell you he was just amazed at how many targets I was digging today with a 13-inch coil. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you do not have the 13-inch coil in your arsenal, you need to get one. I'm telling you, I have never witnessed what I've witnessed over the last 2 weeks using that 13-inch coil. I never thought in a million years I would be using a 13-inch coil to hunt an iron. And I'm digging targets out of this iron. The separation on that big coil is doing great. And Scott and I, Mental Metal and I, just talked about that a few minutes before we came on live, and it does phenomenal. So,
right.
if I had to pick 2 coils,
I have another guy in our group that is saying the same thing you are about his 13-inch coil. And I'm just baffled. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Common sense tells you that should not happen. But he's claiming he says it's the same. It's just he says version 1.10 changed something for that 13-inch coil.
I think it did too. And you guys know that Calabash is one of the guys that I hunt with all the time. And Calabash was astounded at what I sent him a picture of today. And I'm going to show you that picture in just a minute. But he was astounded because this was a site that we had gone to, both of us, and we had hunted it and left it for dead with a 9-inch high frequency coil on the XP Deus and an 11-inch coil on the MindLab Equinox 800. And we left it for dead. And what happened today was just unbelievable, what I saw. And y'all know Calabash is a great metal detectors. And he and I are no slouch together either. And so, for me to go back in and dig, I dug 6 buttons today off of a site that we had pounded, and it just blew me away. Really did.
That's awesome. That's really
Yeah,
awesome.
it was. Metal Detective CZ Kid said, I'll be saltwater and beach hunting this weekend. Anyone tried the beach programs in water? Dive Works here in Pensacola, but the beach programs are just too active and noisy. Now, Metal Detecting with CZ Kid, I am going to start doing my beach hunting real soon. So hopefully maybe I can give you some feedback. I used version 1.0 on the beach, and I found it to be pretty stable. Now, I don't know how 1.1 is going to do it, and I haven't run it yet on the beach, but I plan to get to the beach in the coming weeks as, again, it starts getting warm here in South Carolina. And just like Mental Metal knows too, the humidity level goes up to about 1,000 when you get near this water. And it's just, you don't want to go relic hunting. So I look forward to maybe going out on the beach using that 1.10 update and letting you guys know, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. So again, that's what we'll do. Prospector Cash says, I did a video before TN Sharpshooter's video, and I was the gentleman he was referring to. Okay. Yeah, and I sort of figured that because I actually told TN Sharpshooter about your issue, and he actually went out to try to find out what was going on with the diving program and using the ball conduction headphones. And he did a great job of actually sniffing out that stuff. Of course, he lives for that kind of stuff. He's born to test. Yeah, he's born to test. He loves the testing side of it. Yeah, I know. So I'm not so much the tester. How about you, Scott? Do you like testing a lot? You do?
I do. Yeah, I do. I actually do a lot of it. Yeah, every night I try to get out and mess around with a machine, just to compare things. And I mean, it's my group has a bunch of different types of folks in there. They're not all days 2 users, so the challenge for me is to stay relevant with the machine. So I have a Legend, I have a Nox 900, a Manticore. So you just go out there and mess around, and you learn stuff that you didn't know the day before. So I share that information where I can, and
right.
But I mean, that's the name of the game. Just share the information.
And you bring up a great point, because there's a lot to be unpacked with this update that we haven't uncovered. I mean, right now we're talking about the 13-inch coil and iron unmasking. We're talking about you with a coin program. There's so much to unpack with this update and all these additions and features that they've added to this machine. It's going to take us a while to get through some of this stuff, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, it is. It's going to, I'm just going through little by little. I think this weekend I'm going to pick apart this audio filter. I just don't fully understand it yet. And I know you're saying try it at 1, see how it goes, but I think I'm going to test it on a few things, and test it at 5, test it at 3.
Right. And that's the only way you're going to learn. Like I've been running it at 1, and I think it cleans up the target a little bit more. But of course, I'm using pitch. Yeah. So, pitch. How pitch is. Pitch can be a little bit. It can be a little bit dicey. Yeah, it can be dicey, and it's very abrupt, but it's very responsive too. And my ears have just gotten used to using pitch audio. I mean, that's all I've used, the majority of the time since I've used an XP machine, and it just works really good for me. And Michael Coley, like I said, will attest to that. He was running sensitive full tones today, and he saw me digging all these targets, and he's going like, what the heck is happening? Why is this guy digging all these targets? And so he switched over, and sure enough, as soon as he switched over, he started digging stuff, which I know. It was just crazy what we saw. Right. And he's saying, here he is on here. He says it was an amazing day, and I enjoyed hunting with Michael. Michael is an awesome guy. And Stink Ass Cat said, hey, Josh, he meant to subscribe to your channel. So, and he said I can call him Ron. So, okay. Thanks, Ron. He said I don't have to call him Stink Ass Cat no more.
No, that's not right. You have to call that every time.
Jay Strombo brings up a good point. and this is one of the things that I've talked about quite frequently. Everyone has a different idea of what heavy iron
Yep.
is. And let me tell you, I'm on these plantation sites. Heavy iron is part of it. I mean, these plantation sites have got iron for 200 years, so you're dealing with that. So Jay Strombo brings up a good point, because there are some people that think, just a little bit of iron, they have no comprehension of what's really heavy iron. And Jay Strombo probably knows what heavy iron is. And so, and I know Jay's one of your Patreon members, right? Is that correct?
No, he's just a good friend. I mean,
He's
he's
just a
in.
good friend. Okay. So
Yeah.
Jay really knows, though, what heavy iron is, I'm sure. And, I get that all the time. People, I don't know, if people came down to some of these plantation sites, they might go, oh my gosh, they would run for their life in some of these places.
Yeah.
And it's really thick. I mean, it's machine gun iron for 500-600 yards in a lot of cases. It's just
I've experienced that in Culpeper a lot when we go into some of these, you know, uh, Civil War sites that are, winter encampments. You just, man, oh man, just iron little nails everywhere.
right.
You can't really get through it. The ground's
Right.
hot, so it's even worse.
That
So,
makes it even worse. It's just you can't deal with it for sure. It's
but
bad.
I've seen people walk in there, and I could not believe it when I did. I didn't bring, when I first started hunting on those sites. Usually, you're using a pulse machine because that's the only thing that get punches deep. But I've seen some people take their Deus in there, the original Deus, the first one, and just pluck out button after button, and it's like, how are you doing this? We've hunted these sites for years,
Right.
but it's that iron. You can walk through there, and they can, for some reason, they tuned it in. They were able to get them. They're only 2-3 inches under the ground because everything on the pulse machine is falsing them out, so you don't hear them. But like something like a Deus, they were walking through there, hearing them and plucking them out. I thought they were planted at first, but it's legit. No
Yeah,
problem.
it definitely is. So Michael's wife says, "You have my good luck charm." He is my good luck charm, because every time he shows up, I just go to dig him. And so but we had so much fun today. It was a lot. So I look forward to those beach vids. Yes, CZ Kid, I will try to get a beach vid up next week. I'm hoping that the tides will align for me. Right now, as low tide is actually perfect. But Michael made me hunt all day today. I don't know that I can get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and go hunt. So I am wore out. We walked almost 8 miles today too, Scott. 8 miles. Yeah. So yeah, I really went through the ringer today. But it was a lot of fun, and we had a ball. And just so super excited to see what the XP Deus II is doing with this update and with that 13-inch coil. So again, a lot of good comments on here. He says, Prospector Cash says, I don't understand the offset as much. So what do you think about the offset using full tones? Tell us.
Me, I have not much to say about it yet. That's one of those things I have not really, Are you talking about the? It's in full tones, right?
Right.
It's not in the other ones, right? Yeah, I have not messed around much with it. Just haven't
Yeah.
had a chance. Been
Yeah.
unpacking.
I haven't really done much with it yet either. And I know Prospector, that's probably not the answer that Prospector Cash wanted to hear at this point.
He's
But
in my
again,
group. We'll figure it out.
there's so much to unpack right now, and we're going to get to it. We will. We'll get to the bottom of it. If I don't get to the bottom of it, I know Sharpshooter will get to the bottom of it. Calabash will get to the bottom. Somebody is going to, really sort of give you some more leeway and insight into that coming forward. But again, it's mainly with full tone, so. Be prepared for that if you are a full tones user. Now, again, I've been using pitch, so I haven't really played around with full tones as much. Now, Michael Coley has been using full tones, and he really likes full tones. But again, when he saw me digging all these things today with pitch, he switched over to pitch, and I don't blame him, because it was really working really well on the site that we were at.
I know.
So,
I know when the first update came out, I used full tones for a little while there, and I thought it was great. I thought it was amazing. And then I think they've changed it a little bit again when they did the next update because it's a little. I think it sounds the same, but I think it's like I said, it's not as zesty as it was.
well, and I think that reason for that is that 0.71 filters. I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
changed because that's not initially what I think they were going after
Yeah.
with full tones. So we'll see. I think you're going to see another update at some point, probably within the next few months. Now, I could be wrong. I could be totally off base with this, but
Well, I mean, TN Sharpshooter's finding all the bugs with it, so I wouldn't be surprised either.
yeah, who knows? You might see something, you might not, but I think you're going to see something to try to maybe update, maybe something with full tones, maybe, because I know that they didn't, I won't say they didn't really want to keep 0.71 filters, but I know that wasn't necessarily where they were headed,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense to anybody. So we'll see
Now,
what happens.
I wanted to ask the question: has anybody noticed anything different with the XY screen?
Now, I haven't even used the XY. I never used the XY screen, so I'm the world's worst to ask on that.
Yeah, I've heard that it hasn't gotten any better. Some people say it might be a little not as maybe a little worse than it was before. I don't know honestly, and I have not used it either.
Right. Don't tread on me. Metal detecting says sensitive full tones. I haven't had any time to try anything else. High square tones. He says it's like having a brand new detector with the update. So there you go. There's somebody saying, look, run that high square. I love high square, by the way. I think it's
I do
great.
too. I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just awesome. And you know what? And I'm going to say this. You know why I started using high square? It's because of you. I saw that video.
Sucker.
Yeah, I know you. I fell for it, dude. I fell for it, but that's awesome, dude. I love it. I love it. Carson Chris says when he turns the audio filter up, he starts digging more iron. That's why, again, Carson Chris, I only went with it turning up to 1. So, any thoughts on that, Scott?
Well, I always feel like the less you use, the better in some circumstances, unless you're in some of those crazy sites where you need to adjust. But I don't use any in the coin program. I mean, I'm going to try, one or two here just to see how it goes and if it does anything major to the signals. But I'm with you. I think if I'm going to use it, I'd probably stick around, one, maybe two.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. There's so many comments on here. Don't tread metal detecting. Yeah, we're getting a lot. That's when I notch heavily. I'm assuming when he's talking about maybe the audio filter, I might have missed the first part of that. Andrew Paul says he runs the offset at 8. I like hearing my tones at higher frequencies. Okay, very good. All right. And Sharpshooter actually told me to run it between 10 and 15 on the offset. But of course, again, this is for relic hunting. I don't know about the other as far as coins or some other things, but 10 to 15 is where he encouraged me to run it that way. And so, and I have, like I said, I have used sensitive full tones just a little bit, but I look forward to using it more. Digging Canuck says I cannot get used to pitch, and to me, Scott, have you
Tough.
used pitch quite a bit?
Yeah, I use pitch quite a bit, and I don't know if he's on tonight or not, but my friend Teddy from Ohio, him and I relic hunt up in northern Pennsylvania, and we will typically use pitch when we're relic hunting, and I love it. And for that situation, I don't
Yeah,
love it so much for coins. I do love it more for the relics, for sure.
right. And I've got a video that's going to be coming up from our dig today, but in that video, you'll see me say quite a few times, "Hey, this target sounds like it's got some differences to it. It doesn't sound necessarily right." And what I found most of the times using pitch was I was dead on. There was something else mixed in with that target, but the target turned out to be a good target. Which a couple of buttons that I dug today were like that too. So I think pitch gives you the most tonal nuances of any audio that you can use. Look, there's Rocky. Rocky's in the house.
I think my wife came home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she just got back from a working trip she was on. So he's heading upstairs. He'll
Right.
be back. He won't be gone very long.
Scott, what do you think about what I just said? I mean, do you find that to be the case?
I
With
do.
I know it's mainly with relics, but and I actually used it with coins, and I found the target ID to be pretty stable
Yeah.
to running fast and pitch. But you may have a different feel on that.
No, I think I'm in the camp where you are. I think it's just it's something you just have to get used to. It's not something that's easy to adapt to for the most part. But I do love using it, and for relics, definitely for relics, no doubt about it. But I mean,
Yeah. Well, one thing too that I'm noticing, especially on odd shaped relics,
yeah,
when something is not necessarily round,
yeah,
I can tell a lot about that target using pitch.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Even big iron, you can tell.
Yeah. Dirt Devil Detective says he doesn't use it, but again, I'm mainly doing relic hunting. I'm not, coins are part of what I do too, but the relic hunting side of it, the buttons and buckles and those types of things are the things that I'm really after. So I can really tell a lot using pitch, and I can usually tell if there's a mixed target with it, if it's odd shaped. I can usually tell from the way it sounds in pitch. And high square just sort of makes it even better for me. And then you add in the audio filter, and
Yeah.
I think it just enhances all of that for whatever reason.
But in pitch, you know this, you're gonna
Yeah.
dig a lot of shotgun cartridges.
Well, but that's part of it though,
You got to
Scott.
dig
To
them.
me.
You got to dig them.
Yeah, you got to dig them. But you know what?
They sound so good.
Sometimes I can actually hear a little bit of variation in some of those shots. Now, I'm not saying every time, but on some of them, you can sort of hear some of the variations in some of those shotgun
Yeah,
sounds.
it probably depends on the age of it and
It
how.
does. It
Yeah,
does. It has a lot to do with it. Metal detecting with the CZ kit. Has the update fixed the clock or time accurate? I'm gonna be honest with you. I never
I
use
don't
the
know.
clock. I don't know either. I never use the clock. I
I know.
probably should be using the clock because sometimes my wife is wondering why are you still out so late metal detecting. So I don't know. Sharpshooter might be one to ask on the clock.
He's in here.
Yeah, sharpshooter. If you're in here, sharpshooter, tell us about the clock. I know you do, but thank you, Metal Detective with Easy Kid. I do not know. I'm just going to be honest with you. And Mental Metal says he doesn't know either. So we're both at a loss.
I don't even think I set the time on mine yet.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
Probably set for France time.
Andrew Paul says I use XY. It seems the same to me. I use it
Yeah,
to show me that what not to dig instead of the other way around. Now I've got a good friend that does a lot of beach detecting, and he really relies on the XY screen when he's out beach detecting more so than relic hunting.
yeah. So
Um,
my comment to that would be, be careful. If when I do run it, I have run it in the past. What I'll do is set up programs back to back. I'll have a program that runs. It's the same program. One running the XY screen and one that doesn't. Um,
right.
and that way you can quickly switch back and forth. Because I know somebody had mentioned in one of the comments about I wish they'd created a shortcut key for the XY screen. I agree with you. I think
Yeah,
they should
I
create them.
agree with it. I
That would
wish
be
they would.
awesome. But that's one
Yeah,
way around it. If you set up back-to-back programs and one with the XY, one without, then you can
right.
do that pretty quickly.
So don't tread on me. Metal detecting says stick with it for a while with sensitive full tones. There's a lot of nuance there, and I agree with him 100%. I've just used pitch for so long. It's like your security blanket. You feel comfortable with it, and you just go with it. But I used full tones with the Deus One. So it shouldn't be that big of a jump for me to go back to full tones with the Deus II. Scott, did you use full tones with your Deus, with your original Deus?
Not really. I'm not a big full tones guy until the new
Okay.
version came out and I was trying it. I thought, man, this sounds really good. So I'm more inclined to do more full tones in this version than I did before, because it really did sound good when I was testing it out. But then I found in the coin program, I don't like it in full tones. I'd rather have it in five tones, and then the high square audio setup for it. It just to me sounds more crisp, as I put it in the
Right.
video, crisper. But I am going to use full tones more. I'm going to start using it here when we get some rain.
Right.
But I've also been told, one of the guys on tonight who's in my group as well, Tom, who's the prospectors cash. He's telling us in our group to use sensitive full tones in the water, um,
Right. Okay.
because it
Yeah.
it bangs really hard.
Okay.
So
Yeah. And Prospectors Cash, thank you so much. He just gave a donation and we really appreciate that. Awesome guy. He has a great channel too, guys. If you want to check out his channel, definitely go do that. I've watched a couple of his videos. I did not know who he was until a couple of weeks ago. And I started following him and watching his videos, and he does an excellent job too. Very
he really
knowledgeable.
does.
Yeah,
I,
very
I
knowledgeable
I'm
guy. Go ahead,
we're
Scott.
gonna get him to do it. We're gonna get him to do a talk in our group about all the gold mining stuff he's done in his
Oh
life and
yeah,
how we're going
he's
to
an
pick his brain.
awesome, awesome guy. So I really enjoy watching his channel. And thank you again for the donation, Prospectors Cash. I really, really appreciate that. And we've got so many comments on here right now. I'm trying to catch up. I know we're talking,
I know I'm reading
and
them too, and they're cracking me up.
oh yeah, it's just some. Yeah, Silver Hunter says two great teachers with us, no BS. That's true, and we try to do our best. Again, Mental Metal's about information. I'm about trying to share information. Hey, I think Mental Metal does a better job than I do, really, to be
I
honest
don't know
with
that. You've got the live stream now, man. You crush it.
you. So I just enjoy being, and I said this before we even started today. I just enjoy being with everyone and talking metal detecting and talking metal detectors. It's just a lot to me. It's just a lot of fun,
Totally
and
agree. Totally agree.
and I enjoy hunting. Um, like I said, my buddy Sharpshooter, who's on here right now, he loves to test and he loves to show those things, and that's his niche. I mean, it
Mhm.
really is.
And
I
we
mean,
appreciate you.
yeah, we do. We do sharpshooter. We really do. And my niche is just doing this, doing these live streams with Mental Metal and other guys, and then just going out and hunting and testing some of the things that I'm seeing, and that's what I really love to do. And I love sharing the information with you guys, what I'm seeing out in the field. And I know Mental Metal feels the same way for sure.
Absolutely.
So, and Relics and Ring says, yes, most shotgun brass has a jumpy ID, and it does. It will ring anywhere from in the 70s and it'll drop down to the 60s and 50s. And usually that's a good indicator. But sometimes I've been fooled by those,
Oh
by
yeah,
those
you will
jumpy
be.
signals. Right. Jay Strombo says, I have run PWM for many years with the Deus One. I'm used to it, and it talks to me. New tones are for Knox guys. Yeah, well, Jay Strombo's probably right. The high square is probably, played off of
hmm
Equinox and Mind audio.
Yep.
But it really does work really well, Jay. I'm just going to be honest with you. It does work really good. So, but hey, if you're working great with that PWM audio, then
Stick with
hats
it.
off to you. Keep using it. It works for you. Don't change it.
And then,
That's
and
what
that's
you're
why I
using.
tell my group members, all the time, where people will comment or something, and some this is better than that or whatever. I'm like, just use what you want to use. If it's working for you, who
Right.
cares? We're not
Right.
in this to, like, convince you to try something else. If it
Heck
works for
no.
you, keep using it. Let's
Right.
enjoy the
Just go
hobby.
use what you're comfortable with. It's just
Yeah.
like I just said, I'm used to pitch. I love pitch. You know, that's not to say that there's not something better out there for you. You don't have to go out and use pitch just because I'm using it. I'm just saying that pitch audio works, or pitch tones works for me.
Yeah.
And it's great. And I love it.
And there's another point too to pitch is, and for people who have hearing issues, pitch may sound better for them, may come in a lot better for them, a lot louder. And they may, a couple of buddies of mine have frequency, they can't hear real high tones, but they can hear the pitch. They prefer that over some of these other things that they try. So I think that makes even more sense.
Right. Sharpshooter says, Cat Osborne, glad you sort of like the Paul Harvey news back in the day.
Sharpshooter, the rest of the story.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So he appreciates you, Cat. So thank you, Sharpshooter. Let's see. Don't tread on me, metal detector. From the sound of sensitive full tones is the program for full tones. Yes, it is. It is for full tones. Prospector's Cash says full tones for conductivity and pitch for size. Right. And it will tell you. I mean, I can't tell you how many small targets I did today, and I knew they were small targets. But the problem is that what if it's a small military cuff button? Okay, think about that for just a minute. I've got to dig it.
You got to dig it.
I'm going to dig it.
Yeah.
I'm going to dig it. And Michael Coley can attest to me digging it today. He saw me dig all kinds of stuff. So Surfside Dan said, just coming off the beach, no cold. Surfside Dan, I'm sorry. I know that beach is sanded in down here. So Surfside Dan, we got to get together and go out real soon. So we lost Mental Metal. Hopefully he'll be back. There he is. We lost you for a second.
It could be my internet here. My wife came home. Who knows what?
No, she's using the internet. Yeah, and Dirt Devil Detective says half as many likes as there are people watching. Everybody wants to come here for the information. That's all it is. Isn't that right, Scott?
Yeah.
Well, they need to hit that like button. If they're in here for the information, they need to hit that like button. So definitely do that. The clock, Bobby Short says the clock should just say, just keep digging. Yeah, don't stop. Keep on digging.
That's a good
one. Yes, definitely. Yes. Thanks, 3D. Hit that like button. Thank y'all so much. You guys are awesome. We've got an amazing group. Now we need a smaller coil. Make the Deus II a complete sniper.
Do you think they can make a smaller coil than the 9?
Look, I'm telling you, right. And I've had this. I used to feel that way, but after using the 13-inch coil and unmasking an iron, I'm going like, why do I need a smaller coil? I've got a 9-inch coil that does very, very well. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah. I just wonder if they can fit the technology in the coil, though, because most of the technology in the coil, correct? I mean, that's why they do so well. But I think compacting that down any smaller than a 9-inch is going to be tough.
Right, exactly. So Sharpshooter says, and I agree with Sharpshooter, the primer in the shotgun shell makes that shotgun shell jumpy, and he's exactly right. My buddy Michael Coley says just crossed over into North Carolina. He was just with me not even an hour and a half ago, so he's on his way. He drove 3 hours just to come hunt with me. But so glad that he did. Don't tread on me, metal detector. I used to run the hot program at 74 kilohertz on the Deus I. Unbelievable tones. Now sensitive full tones is starting to sound a little familiar. There you go. Hey, look, again, if that sensitive full tones is working for you and you feel comfortable with it, I say use it. Don't back off from it. If it's working and you're digging the things that you want to be digging, no sense to change. Use it, definitely. What do you think, Scott?
I agree, 100%. 100%.
Yes. Joe Dirt says lots of info here with YouTube, but Digging Dixie was a whole lot better looking. Oh Lord!
I saw that comment. I was like hoping you put that one up. I just started laughing. I would agree 100%.
I would agree with that comment too. Definitely. I enjoyed having Digging Dixie on here, and guys, hopefully she's going to be back. She really enjoyed being on here and enjoyed this group. Everybody was so courteous and so nice to her. And she told me that over and over and over again in text messages and other things. So I really appreciated her being on. But hopefully we'll have her back on real soon. And maybe in the next month or so, she comes back with us. Don't tread on me metal today. He says, when in doubt, dig it out. He's exactly right.
Hey, how do people feel about the MI6 syncing up with the new version? Is it better now?
I don't know. See, I do not run my MI6 through my headphones.
Yeah,
Do you do
I've
that?
tested a little bit, and it actually is a lot better than it was. So I think they got some of those kinks out for this version.
Right. Okay. Don't tread on me says I had my eyes on sensitive full tones before I even got the machine. And again, I'm with you. Don't tread on me, metal. I'd used full tones all throughout my Deus one, journey. And then when I got the Deus II, full tones wasn't necessarily full tones like on the Deus one. So I was real excited about the Deus II having full tones back and being able to run a little bit better. And so I'm still open to full tones. I don't want you guys to think that at all, but I'm just familiar with pitch because I've used it for so long, and it works really, really well with me on the Deus II. So again, Sharpshooter says folks should compare tone selections with located targets to see what you really like better. And I'm with Sharpshooter too. And we just said
That's
this.
a good point. Yep.
Yes. Use what you like. What sounds good to you? What works for you? Don't necessarily say, hey, I'm going to use pitch because Southern Relic Adventures is using pitch, and don't say, hey, I'm going to use sensitive full tones because it works for mental metal. Use what works for your ears, what really sounds good to you. And what you're used to is what you're used to, 9 times out of 10. Andrew Paul says that his MI6 is working great, and that's awesome to hear, just like what you just said, Scott. And Prospector's Cash says yes, it syncs great for him too. So that's really, really, really good.
That is good because I walked around Digstock when I was there, and I fixed a bunch of people's pairing problems with that.
Right. Yeah. There were some people that came up to us too when I was at the XP tent, and they were wanting me to help them pair. And I'm going like, look, I don't use my MI6 with in my head.
Let me get my phone and look it up real quick.
Right. I know it was like that. I used to just send them to Rob, the history digger, who was with us too, because Rob runs that all the time. And I'm going like, I just don't do that. I mean, it's just, I'm quirky when it comes to that kind of stuff, but Rob usually helped him out. So, but that's good to hear that MI6 is pairing up very well. James Bazell says MI6 is better since update, but still does not connect every time. So, there's one person saying there that it's not working as well as they would like for it to. Don't tread on me, Metal Tank says, has anyone been using deep high conductor for any length of time with the new update yet? How is it? How about you? Have you used deep high conductor?
Yes.
Okay.
And I like it. You're going to see some changes slightly in target IDs.
Right. And I know we talked about this sort of off camera. You were saying that the target ID was a little bit different on deep high conductor.
Now, we don't really know what's making that change, but I suspect it might be the max freak range doing some of that. Because I know that the one video I put out, I was going to compare both a beta version of the deep high conductor coin program with the coin port program I just put out. And I did the comparisons, and I didn't like the way it sounded in deep high conductors. And I realized it's because some of the tone bins that I set up were just not right because the numbers were just a little bit different, and they were cutting off the IDs and the sound. So I got to go back and make some quick adjustments on that, but I should have that figured out pretty soon. I'll post that too when I get it done.
Right. So Matt comes on here and he just says, I just bought the 13x11 coil and haven't taken it out yet. Does it seem to pick up targets deeper than the 9? Matt, it does pick up targets deeper than the 9. I can tell you that for sure. You're going to love the 13 by 11. And I said this on my live stream last week. If I had to pick two coils to own for the Deus II right now, it would be the 9 and it would be the 13.
Yeah.
I can actually see me not even using the 11, but that's not to say that the 11 couldn't hit something that the 9 or the 13 couldn't hit. But I think overall, if you're playing the game of odds, which I like to say quite frequently, then the 13 and the 9 would be what I would put my money into right now at this point, from what I've seen, especially with this update. I think, and I'm with Metal on this too. I think that the 13 is doing something a little bit different with this update. What? I do not know. I wish I had the answer to that, but it is doing something really, really good. So
can we get Sharpshooter on that for us?
Yeah, but Sharpshooter does not have a 13-inch coil. So he's heard me talk about this 13-inch coil and how well it's doing, but he doesn't have one. So hopefully XP maybe we'll send him one. So XP, if you're on here, send Sharpshooter a 13-inch coil. But
you can send me one too, XP.
Yeah. Send Metal a 13-inch coil. Come on. I love the 13-inch coil. And I never thought I would be saying this. Is what's so crazy about it. Yeah. I just never thought I would be saying this. Andrew Paul says, Matt, 13-inch coil is the bomb. And I agree with Andrew Paul. It has blown me away. Matt says, Austin, I bought it for artillery shell hunting. Well, not only are you going to find that it is very deep, you're also going to find it is very good at iron separation, which goes against everything that we've probably ever been told. Yeah, it really does. Ricky Bennett says, Father's Day is coming. Perfect time. I mean, get wife to order a Deus II 13-inch coil. Ricky, you're right,
buddy. Good idea right there. I like that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Father's Day. Definitely a good Father's Day present. Jay Strombo says, I have an 11 by 13, good and moderate iron. I like it here. Look, I hunt heavy iron. I'm telling you, Jay, if you have not used this thing in heavy iron, you need to take it out and try it. Michael Coley saw me dig, and it was a pull tab, but it was a pull tab mixed in iron, a lot of iron. And he saw me dig a pull tab right out of the middle of all that iron. And I was just like going, how in the world is this even possible? But again, the test that I saw showed that when you concentrate that iron and you got a target around it, that 13-inch tends to respond better than even the 9-inch, which made total, I mean, it just didn't make sense, but it did.
Yeah,
I don't know, guys.
Crazy.
Yes, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Jerry Mellinger says, do you recommend a counterweight for the 11 by 13? Well, what I do is I actually use the WS6 with the 11 by 13. And
I'll give a little tip to Jerry. Jerry, since you have, and he's one of my Patreon members, since you have so many pinpointers, why don't you just tape one of them to the back of it to kind of balance? And I know he's laughing right now too.
I'm laughing. So I use the WS6 with my 13-inch coil, and it makes for an enjoyable hunt. I mean, I use the 13-inch coil all day. Now, I will say this: my elbow started hurting really bad towards the end, but I'm gonna tell you why. They had planted this whole field. I don't know if they planted it or whether it just come up naturally, but it was full of nothing but clover. And the clover was so thick that I was really having to swing sort of hard, to try to cut through the clover. And that started wearing on my elbow eventually. But if it were flat, even ground, I could go all day with the WS6 and the 11 by 13 coil. It just works really well.
That's cool.
So Jay Stromo says, I have heavy iron. 13 is a no-go in a cellar. Jay, I'm telling you, I have heavy iron too. I mean, I have some of the, probably just as heavy as the iron that you have in some of these cellar holes. But we're talking about iron that's stretched out for almost a half a mile in some cases of nothing but machine gun iron. And that 13 by 11 is unmasking. I believe it or not, but it is. That's just
Soil
what I'm
conditions
seeing.
are, you got really like what, sandy soil conditions down
I
there?
do. I probably have better soil condition.
Mhm.
And I think that's helping with my situation as well. The soil is very mild. I don't have to deal with, mineralization. I don't have to deal with any of that kind of stuff. So that's probably what's helping there as well. Lance says, have you tried 9-inch coils since update? I've also been finding more mass targets with my 9-inch coils since the update. Found my first walking liberty on the old house site. I have, Lance, and I agree with you. I think the update is helping with the 9-inch coil as well. But I never thought that the 13-inch would unmask the way it's unmasking. The 9-inch already unmasked. I knew that. But the 13-inch is unmasking almost to me equivalent with the 9 in some cases for whatever reason.
Has anybody, I have it on video to prove it, but has anybody dug a dime at 99?
A dime at 99. I had
did.
a 99 signal today, and I wish I would have dug
You
it.
should have dug it. You should
Yeah.
have dug it, because we're talking our group. There are, Jerry, you can come in and verify this, but there were some signals that were some targets we're seeing that will hit 99. One of them was the mercury dime I had, and I went back to that hole to try to figure out why it was reading 99. No explanation why. There was nothing in the hole.
Oh, wow.
And it was only 3 inches deep.
What kind of dime was it?
It was a Merc.
It was a Merc.
Yeah.
Wow. I have not. And I did. I told Michael's on here. I told Michael, look, I got a 99 signal. Should I dig it? He goes, oh, no, that's probably iron. I said, yeah, you're probably right. It is iron. I'm going like, what? Now you're telling me 99 could be something really, really good.
Yeah, Jerry just came in, and I think Jerry, can you confirm? I think it's dollars are hitting 99, silver dollars, or is it silver half dollars and dimes? I can't remember what he had before, but we were just talking about this in our group.
Right. So Joe in Memphis says my only large simp rang up a 99. All right. Jerry says you're correct. Yeah, deep targets on the edge of detection read for him 99.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks. Okay. Dig your 99s.
Yeah, you might not want to pass on a 99. I wish I'd have known this before I went hunting today, Scott. The Scottish detectorist uses the 13-inch, and it seems amazing. So there you go. There's somebody else out there that's sort of confirming, and you said there's been some people on your channel that has confirmed that too. Prospector's Cash says, why not use offset 15 Merc dime 99 and sensitive full tones? Okay, so there we go. So we are seeing some people that have dug that 99. Lance McElwain says it gave a 95 after he dug it. So it might have shown up a 99 originally, but you're saying that's because it's at depth is the reason why it's showing that. Lance, how deep was that target? If you remember, that's a good question. Morgan dollars, peace dollars might ring up a 99. That would also be one too. Let's go to Texas. I only dig 99 to a point, then you have to stop. And you may be right. Yeah. You just never know. You really don't ever know.
I don't hardly ever see 99s. That's why I was like, 99. Yeah. I almost passed it up, and then popped out a dime. I was like, whoa, crazy.
Right. So we got some more comments here. U.S. coppers used to come in at 92, 97 on the Deus I hot program, HF coil, 74 kilohertz. Yeah, I never really, I used the HF coil not the HF coil, but he's talking about the elliptical. I think it's 74 kilohertz. But the elliptical coil, I don't know. It's just such a laser beam as far as digging in some of those targets. But 92, 97. Okay. Very good. Jerry Mellinger says that's in 14 kilohertz.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
Jerry.
Right. Sharpshooter says, hey, he's got a detecting talk of the day. He probably made that while we were talking.
Sure he did.
I know he does.
He said in his comments he has done it for 75 tries in a row, and it's always paired.
He probably made it while we were talking. Lance says it rang up a 98.99 before digging it, and it was about 6 inches. So it wasn't a deep target. So that's very, very interesting as well. All right. So I know we've talked about a lot of things tonight. Let's Q&A from Mental Metal. So
weren't we doing this?
Yeah, if you got questions for Mental Metal, let's ask them now. And he'll be glad to answer your questions. So if you got a question, ask now, because we're probably going because I know Mental Metal's got something to do. I know he's already talked to me about
for 4 days. I have to go see her and say hello, or she'll kill me.
Yeah, I know. So if you got a question for Mental Metal, ask now, and he'll be glad to answer it. We'll put that up real quick. Alabama Digger says, "Hey, what is your favorite fine Mental Metal?"
I used to have it here too. I don't have it anymore. It's out in the garage, I think. But favorite find is my very first and second. Oh, it's my very first eagle breastplate that I found on my own permission after many years of people hunting on that with groups, and nobody ever found it. I walked over it one day, and there it was, 14 inches deep, and it was beautiful. And I just am so proud to have found that. So that's my favorite.
That's an awesome find. I do not have an eagle breastplate, so I'm envious, Scott. Definitely envious. So let's see. Relic Jedi says, Mental Metal, would you let teach bottom feed in your path?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, look, I don't mind being a bottom feed. As long as he leaves me a couple of signals out there, I'll be glad to do that for sure. Mental Metal is the man. I love his channel. Prospector's Cash says, what is the best tool for digging in your hard ground?
The best thing I have found is those. If you go to like a Lowe's or a Home Depot, get those edger shovels. They have like a pretty long blade on them, and they're kind of angled funny.
Right.
Those go right through that hard ground pretty easy. But if you really want a nice heavy shovel that'll go in the ground, I have the Stewline T-handled Stewline I got a couple years ago from Kelly. It's heavy, but it's serrated on both sides, and it cuts pretty good too. It just you can't go wrong with either one of those.
Okay. Cool. Wisco Detect says, hey Scott, what is your favorite detector? They're gonna put you on the spot.
That's such a hard question.
Yeah.
So I would say right now, not my favorite, but which one do I pick up the most?
Right.
Is the D2. I do like using the D2. Now, I'm like a guy with a toolbox. I like to take the best machine that I use or that I have that will help me in the conditions I'm hunting. So that will vary depending on where I'm at. So like next week I'm going to do a water hunt. I will probably take the D2, but I also have a Knox 900. I'm going to give that a shot. I have the Legend. I may give that a shot.
Right.
And I have the Xterra Pro. I'm going to throw that small coil in there and see what it does. So it just depends on the type of hunting I'm doing.
I have all those detectors too, Scott, except for I don't have the Equinox 900. So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So definitely for sure. Let's see what else we got here. Anybody else with questions for Mental Metal? Because we are going to sign off here in just a few minutes. And he has been so nice to give us his time. And we appreciate Mrs. Mental Metal for allowing you to be on here tonight and take a little bit of her time as well. Lance McElwain says, I was using sensitive full tone settings in the past base program. So again, a lot of people like sensitive full tones, and I'm going to use it more. I know, and I know my buddy Michael on here has used it quite a bit. Sharpshooter's a big fan of it as well, and I hope he'll use it more. Maybe when I start to do some more relic hunting in the winter, as it's starting to get close to summer. So Scott, are you going to go out to the beach? Are you close enough to a beach?
I'm about 4 hours from Ocean City, Maryland. It's a tough run for me this time of year because the Bay Bridge, if anybody's familiar up here, the Bay Bridge is unbearable to cross. Oh my Lord, on the weekends. You have to go at wee hours of the night to get across without being stuck in traffic for 8 hours.
Right.
But I plan on making it down your way in the end of July. So I'll be at Hilton Head for about 7 days. And I love taking my metal detector out there. It's just peaceful.
Sure. Yeah. So maybe we can meet up. Maybe we can go to Charleston and we can meet up and go detecting on the beach. That Edisto
I'd love to.
Somewhere like that. That might be the trick there. Fast seems to unmask better for me. That's from Lance. And again, I like fast. I've used fast for all kinds of things, and I was using deep high conductor before the update hit, and now I've just gone strictly to fast and pitch and high square and all the other things. What's that?
I said it's jacked up everybody in their what type of hunting now. I'm in general.
It has, and it's sort of, and it's like I said at the beginning of the show. There's so much for us to unpack here with this update, and I think we're just touching the edge of it at this point, and we're going to find things that are going to work really, really well for us in the coming months. Like I said, the beach programs, we really don't know much about the beach, which I hope to bring some light to some of that in the coming weeks. And I know you do too. So I look forward to taking that time to sort of, figure out those things from the beach. Jay Strombo says, thanks for all your help, Scott. Scott got my puck knowledge up to snuff. Okay. Right. You've been helping him with the WS6?
Yeah.
Good for you. That's awesome. And I love the WS6 too, by the way. If you're looking for a second machine, I would strongly suggest the WS6. James Bazell says, great chat. He said this afternoon, gosh, it's almost 9:00 at night. So he must be somewhere else. But James, we appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for all of your support. And we look forward to having you on our live streams. Dirt Devil Detective says, I'll drive down for weekend. Beaches up here is like a scene out of Jurassic Park with all the metal detectives swarming the beach. Right. And with the Xterra Pro, you got new competition out there. So again, very good. All right. A couple of things before we sign off. If you haven't already, I'm going to do a selfless plug for me. Check out my Amazon affiliate store. It's scrolling across the bottom. I do have a lot of the things that we've talked about, the shovels that I use, the pinpointers, the XP Deus machines, all of that is on my Amazon store. So if you are interested in that, and if you're not an Amazon person, then you can also go and check out my buddy Detecting Clay. He's a dealer in Scott. I think he's in Maryland. Okay. By the way, but anyway, Detecting Clay. Check out his store. You can use this. I think you get a small discount. So if you are interested in purchasing a machine, you're interested in purchasing gear, if you're interested in that 13-inch coil, check out Detecting Clay. He might be able to hook you up with a 13-inch coil. You can take a picture or whatever. I'll write this down for your reference sake. But Detecting Clay is one of my good buddies, does a great job. So you can check out his store as well. If you are interested in a 13-inch coil, you're interested in the WS6, or you're interested in an XP Deus II, check out Detecting Clay. So Scott, any parting words, any advice or anything you want to say for our audience tonight?
Oh, it's great. Thanks for having me, Brian. And I get out there and dig it all. That's all you can do, right?
Right, that's it. And guys, too, just to let you know, I've got a video coming of today's hunt. I was going to show y'all a picture, but I can't get it to share on my computer right now with the screen. So, but go check out my video, my latest video. I should have it up sometime tomorrow. So look for that. I'm telling you, when you see all the things that I dig, you're going to go, oh my gosh, that 13-inch coil is amazing, which it was. It's just so impressive. And I know I've said this over and over and over again tonight, but um, I'm excited about what XP's done, not only with the update, but with the product that they've made. I just think it just does a great job. And kudos to XP. They've definitely created a very, very good machine that is definitely helping all of us at this point. So again, kudos to them. And again, Scott, I can't thank you enough for being on here tonight. Lance McElwain says, I have 17 shovels and a Predator Phoenix is my favorite. Look, I'm telling you, the Root Slayer, that's what I use. Thank you, Andrew Paul.
I have the Root Slayer.
Yeah, look, I'm telling you, the Root Slayer is the best shovel to me out there. It's heavy as heck now. I will say that. It's heavy. But I love that. I love that shovel. Thank you so much, Andrew Paul, for the donation. Chris, good night, everyone. Someone wants to know, has the Manicore delivery eased up any yet? I think I'm seeing a lot more Manicores starting to be delivered. In fact, Mental Metal just put up a video, too, about the Manicore and showing the iron situation with the Manicore. And so you can go and check that out.
I know for a fact my supplier, Fort Bedford Metal Detectors, has said that they're caught up and they have them. So if anybody's looking for them, reach out.
Right. So Scott, Fort Bedford Metal Detectors is an affiliate of Scott. So if you are looking for a Manicore, check them out too. Or you can check out Detect and Clay. Either one would be good. Ricky Bennett says, thanks, Scott and Brian, for the live stream. Great fun and informative. Fred says, thanks for the great chat. All right, Scott, I promised you, I did go a little bit over.
You held me hostage last time.
Yeah, well, look, you held yourself hostage. You could have left it anytime you
wanted. It's all good, man. It's all good. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
Dude, I so appreciate you. It's been a great live. Everyone loves seeing you. Everyone loves your channel. It's just so informative. If you're not subscribed to Scott's channel, to Mental Metal, then go over there and check it out. He's an awesome guy. Over. Yeah, come on over. He's a great guy, and he does a fantastic job of demonstrations, testing, and showing you the latest and greatest on a lot of these new metal detectors. So, Scott, we appreciate you so much tonight for being here.
And have a great time. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I know my audience really appreciates you as well. So thanks again. Guys, we're out of here. We're going to see you guys real soon on our next adventures. You can check out Scott too on his adventures too. He has some good ones as well. So
and Rocky has his own channel too, by the way.
Yeah, Rocky's got his own channel. Rocky the man. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for those of you that donated tonight. Thank you again. Guys, y'all take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Get out there and detect. Put your Deus II to work. Use that update. Give us information. Feedback and data is how we all learn. That's what it's all about. Right, Scott?
Right on, brother.
That's it. Y'all take care. Have a good night. And we are out of here. We will catch you guys real soon. Thank you, guys.